No, I know that you've been married for some years.
Not to my husband now.
Oh,
my
okay.
husband now.
Okay.
I've been married 25 years.
Okay.
Praise
Okay.
God.
Praise God.
But that's beautiful.
But and my children's father, that was an abusive relationship because I wanted abuse. I thought that's what I was supposed to have.
Right.
When you're an abused person, you have the mindset of an abused person. So what do you get yourself into all the time? Most women that stay in abusive relationship is because that's what you think you deserve. And that's where my mind was at. I felt like that's where I belonged, and I stayed in that for
abuse is, it has such an ugly, just, I guess the word I want to use is that abuse is really ugly.
Yes.
Because it takes you so many directions. Abuse will literally tear a person down to nothing. To nothing.
And you believe you're nothing and you don't deserve nothing. And so you just let them walk all over you. Now, I'm not going to be walked over today because I am a child of the King.
Amen.
And so
Amen.
there will be no walking over me. If it has to be Jesus himself.
Okay.
So.
And also with abuse, just to add to what Pastor said, I noticed for me as a woman that's been abused as well, so I can relate. Because we don't love ourselves, we wait for that what they call it, the honeymoon cycle. To feel loved by that abuser. Like if that's really love, but it's just wow. But for you to be delivered from that, wow.
God put his. Now, when I very first started giving my life, when I gave my life to Christ, I didn't know what the walk was where God was taking me. And it started because my husband was like, wait a minute. We're going to get a Bible study going on at home. And I thought, what? We turn up. What do you mean? Because at that time, we're both turning up. This is what we do every weekend.
Turn up, in other words, means you was partying.
We was partying every weekend,
Right.
We'd get our beers and smoke our little weed. Now, I wasn't doing crack. When I met him, the crack thing was over.
Okay.
I finally had gotten to it. And it's funny because God was with me there. I've never been to a rehab. Never. When I was done, I was done. I was like, this is tearing me down. It's taking everything I got. And my kids ain't having what they need. Because when I hustle for me and hustle for my kids. But at that time, we weren't having a normal life. I got to a point where I was like, this is enough. I moved from Iowa back to Denver. And I never touched crack again. I just never touched crack again.
God is so good.
Yeah.
Lachelle, God is so good.
He was with me.
Yeah.
Most people have to go to rehab. They see prison. They see, and I should, don't get it wrong, I should have been in prison because I did some things that I probably should have been in prison for. But God
was with you.
But God, and He kept my children with me. And so, and it affected my children. We have a good relationship now, but I didn't know how to be a mom. I was popping out babies. Look who taught me who to be a mom. So I didn't know any better.
Know any of that.
I didn't know any better, and so
you were basically learning how to do everything on your own from scratch.
Yes.
And you were learning by trial and error.
Yes.
Yes.
You
were learning by mistakes.
Yes.
Yes. They say mistakes are sometimes the best teacher. So
yeah.
Not that I say we should go through all of that, but
I've
learned some of my greatest lessons through mistakes.
Yeah, me too. I just thought about that. Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely
I've learned some of the greatest things in life. I grew from some of those really bad mistakes. Yeah, those were lessons that
you have to learn. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I raised my kids, by just pretty much learning. Mm-hmm. And so because I never got that huggy, kissy type of relationship, I just didn't have that. I didn't do that with my children. So in raising them, they kind of felt like I never really loved them because I give them material things
trying to make up for
what I didn't have. Mm-hmm. But I didn't give them what they really needed, which was love. Mm-hmm. They needed hugging, kissing. I'm still not really that huggy, kissy type person. I'm growing. God is working on me on that.
Okay.
But it's like a domino effect. And so now I see the generational curses that were over us. And drug addiction was one, that was just traveling down. And I'm like, no, this got to stop. So I stay on my knees for my family and declare and decree that, generational curses of addiction, of abuse, of feeling rejected. When my apostle first got me, she'll tell you I thought everybody talking about me. You talking about me? You don't like me,
Right.
I would believe.
Well, because of where you come from.
Yeah.
You come from a place of anger.
Yes.
You come from a place of rejection.
Yes.
You come from the streets.
Yes.
And ain't nobody playing fair in the streets.
No. So
you're always looking over your shoulder.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the lifestyle.
Yeah.
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 Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And again, let's not talk about paranoia.
Yes.
Because when you're on drugs, you're paranoid.
Yeah.
And you're always trying to.
Yeah.
So you've got all those things happening.
Yeah.
In your life, or have happened in your life.
Yeah.
Now you're stepping into the church house.
Yes.
So you're in a whole nother environment.
Yes. And I started out at one church, which is our family church. We have a family church here in Iowa that my great-grandfather, he built. Mm-hmm. So I was expected, to do these things in church. Now, I'm in church, I'm praise dancing, I'm going to Bible study, I'm praying a little bit, but I'm still partying outside.
Okay.
Because I still ain't learned the full lesson to put the marijuana down and to put the liquor down. Mm-hmm. So I'm still doing these things, but yet I'm getting up on Sunday and I'm praise dancing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And one day, I'll never forget it. We were doing a conference. Me and another lady were doing conferences at these. We would rent out a building, and we're dealing with stuff that we thought that women wanted to deal with spiritually. And I got a call from my pastor today, and she just was speaking in tongues, and I was like, "What in the world?" And I began to cry, and something broke and touched me that day, and so I was like, "I'm gonna go visit her church." So I go over there, and I'm like, "Wow, this is different," because I been at this one family church for all my life.
Are we thinking, because what type of church was it? Was it
African Methodist?
Okay.
And so they're.
And I only ask that because we know that some churches, their practice
are different.
Is different. Yes, their worship is different.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I'd never been bathed in the type of environment that I went to. Right. Okay. So I get over there and I'm like, okay. Mm-hmm. So now there's a fight in me because God is speaking to me and he's letting me know I've reached the ceiling over here at this family church. You're at the ceiling. It's time to move on. Now, mind you, I'm in all this different thing. I'm in missionary. I'm in praise dance. During the altar with the first Sunday, things. I just am in a lot of stuff.
Sure.
And so, when I told my grandmother, I said, "Grandma, I'm leaving." She said, "What?"
Oh.
She said, "No, you belong over here." I said, "No, Grandma, God's telling me it's time to go." And so it was a battle because now I'm learning that Easter, you're celebrating the fertility God. I'm learning that you shouldn't be taking your kids trick or treating. I'm learning,
all this stuff.
Yeah. God is opening up all these windows, and my grandma's going, "What? You're not what?" I'm like, "Grandma, my kids can't Easter hunt. They're not Easter egg hunting. They're not." And she's looking at me like, "What is wrong with you? Something's wrong with you." Mm-hmm. But I know I'm hearing God's voice very, very clearly, and He removed all the anger, and I felt so free. I cried and I cried. But the freedom I had never felt before. Like all these, like, you know, if you have all these bags on you and you're trying to get through the airport and somebody just is steady taking one. And then you're like,
I can walk.
Yes.
I can darn near fly.
Yes. Yes. And the things that I learned and that I'm loved and I'm beautiful. I'm not ugly, and it doesn't matter what size I am. I'm still loved and can be loved, and it just was amazing. It just was amazing.
Wow.
I'm no longer that person that wants to fight you for no reason. I didn't fight you just because you didn't.
You looked at me.
Yes. Yeah.
I know. I remember. I used to be like that.
Yeah. You know.
What you look at?
You know. So, I'm ordained now, and I live my life for Christ. I can't.
Amen.
I can't look back. I won't look back, and I don't want to be around nobody that's trying to pull me back.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Say that.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm just. That's who I am today. Wow. And it was God. He showed me the different things that I went through. That He's kept His hand on me.
The whole time.
He kept His hand on me the whole time. Whole entire time.
Wow, that is beautiful.
Because He knew my destiny.
Let me ask you this: your dad's a pastor,
my
right?
Dad's a pastor, yes.
So he went from bootlegging to
a
pastor. Okay. All right, so he put the gun away too then.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yes.
All right.
Yes,
okay,
yes.
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That is such an inspiring